Welcome to the Determined Mom Show, the only marketing podcast dedicated to guiding mom CEOs into tranquility, wealth, and multiplying those precious moments.
Welcome to this episode of the Determined Mom Show, and I have my good friend D. Scott Smith here with me. And today we're going to talk about how to publish your own book, course, and webinar on Amazon in 12 weeks or less. So welcome.
Hey, Amanda. It's so great to be here with you on your show, the Determined Mom Show. I am a subscriber and a fan, so I love listening to your episodes, and it's great. What an honor and a privilege to be here with you.
That's awesome. I am very honored that you're here. I've been following your work for several years now since we met on Clubhouse, like you reminded me earlier, and it's just amazing the connections that I've made through knowing you, and it's just an honor to have you here, definitely.
Well, thank you.
So first I want to talk about you. I know your title officially is Motivational Listener, and so I want you to expound on that a bit, but then also tell us how you happened into Amazon publishing.
Absolutely. So the title Motivational Listener, there's some brain science that goes behind this, but the bottom line, if you want to say what is the goal of being a motivational listener, it is that when we have a conversation, so Amanda, if you and I are speaking and I'm the motivational listener, my goal and outcome is that you leave that conversation feeling better about yourself than before we started talking. And that term, motivational listener, I actually stole from my wife. And because I'm a good husband, I will always give her credit. Because one day somebody asked her, said, Christine, what do you do? And she thought about it and she said, I think very accurately, I'm a motivational listener. I said, Christine, I love that. And I will always give you credit, but I am stealing that. And that was back in 2016.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm glad that you give her credit, but it is a great term. I can understand the theft there.
It's a good pattern interrupt, right? We hear lots of motivational speakers. So motivational listener is a good pattern interrupt. And again, the brain science that goes behind that, and that'll be for a different show.
That'll be the next episode. Awesome. So tell us about the Amazon publishing and how did you get started in that?
That's really interesting. So like many people, I wanted to write a book. And actually the first book that I wrote is titled Motivational Listener, Be Interesting by Being Interested, a practical guide to being successful at business networking events. That's quite a title. But anyway, it all originated from a talk that I gave at the Social Media Summit in Dublin, Ireland, back in 2016, when I first claimed that title of motivational listener. And I'm speaking at this social media event, and there is some deep knowledge there on Snapchat for Business and Facebook ads and Google and all these different platforms and YouTube. My topic was a little bit broader. It was the psychology and physiology of relationships. And essentially what I did is I looked at the academic research and proved that the relationships that we create digitally can be just as strong as those that we create face to face. Of course, for the last 2.5 years, we've had a global laboratory that has proven that to be true, because you and I met, as you said, on Clubhouse. Then we got together in some different events, and the networking event that you have each week. And I've been able to attend that. And also you've been a part of the virtual global tea break that we run each month. I co-host with Alan Hennessy. And so we've proven that the relationships that we create online can be just as strong. I had this concept, I gave this talk, and I turned it into an e-course to teach people how to connect at business events. And I thought the same thing is, you had a guest, Rachel Pedersen, recently, and she talked about her book. It was a short book, a little 60-page book. And the reason she put it together is because they were having an event and they needed to have this book to give out. So they wrote it, she wrote it, put it on, published it on Amazon. I did the same thing. I had this talk that I turned into an e-course. And when I wrote the course, I did it in such a way that I could reformat it into a book. I got booked to speak at the Project Management Institute's annual meeting in the state of Oregon. That's a great reason to have a book. So I reformatted it and published it on Amazon, self-published on Amazon. There was no guide. This is back in 2018. when it actually released. And so I had to learn everything from scratch. There was no guide. It was painful, but I did it. And like Rachel's book, I look back on it and I go, but as they say, if you were not embarrassed by your first release, you waited too long.
I love that. It's so true. Anything that you do, like even I'm thinking back to my first podcast episode, and I wish I should hide those. I was like
Sure.
reading from my Google document and not sure what to say, and so nervous that anyone would be hearing what I was going to say, and just all of those things. It's the same thing, I'm sure, with the book.
So then I had the book and another book after that. And then because now it's easier. You get that first one done, then it becomes easier. In May of 2021, I was accepted as an Amazon influencer. What that means is that I'm able to broadcast live to the audience on Amazon. Of course, it's the world's largest book retailer. And I happen to know a lot of authors. So Amazon Live, for those people that are unfamiliar with it, you can go to amazon.com/live and watch broadcasts. And it's like the home shopping club. And people are saying, oh, look, I got this mug and I got these clothes and I got these items. And so it's a way to promote. And it's this live, as they call them, shoppable videos, very big in Asia, but relatively new here in the US. So I got accepted as an Amazon influencer, and I thought, well, I can talk about products, but I know a lot of people who've written books. So I started doing author interviews. So as I continued to do this, I'm meeting more people who are saying, I would like to write a book too. I go, I have broken the ice. So let me put together a program to help people to be able to take the content that they've already written for the most part. So like yourself, you're a podcaster, you write newsletters, you've already generated content. Let's take that expertise and put it into the world's largest retailer of books. And it's a perfect platform because I'll say back in the old days, blogs and then podcasts, which I'm a fan of both of those, were great ways to showcase your expertise. And then we were doing ebooks and downloadables on our websites, right? These are lead magnets that we could share out. Then the explosion of short form video, especially TikTok, Instagram live videos or reels, Facebook, YouTube short videos, they become a way to communicate with people. However, people go to TikTok and Instagram to be entertained. So we may find some customers there, some clients, some people that we can help, but they're really there to be entertained. So it's a hope in a way. YouTube is great. People go to YouTube to find out how to do things, but generally it's a DIY place. How do I format this? How do I do that? Right. The only reason people are on Amazon is to buy something. And although Google is the world's largest search engine and it owns YouTube, which is also the number 2 search engine, Amazon is the number 1 place people go to find things that they can buy to solve problems that they have.
Yes, that is so true. I love it. It is interesting to me that there is all of these different places that we can search, but they're very specific for very specific things. It's really about the intent. You're like spot on. Like anything that you need to search, you go to or anything you need to buy, you go to Amazon first. Amazon,
Oh,
Amazon,
absolutely.
Amazon. It's so ingrained in our phones. I don't know. Is it in our phone or in our electronic devices that it's just a natural habit? And I love that you're putting that together of solving the problem, like whatever your specific area of expertise is, you're solving that problem for the person that's searching for it. So I think that's a really important thing to point out. And you had mentioned earlier, content creators of any kind that already have all that content out there. This is the perfect place for them.
Absolutely. So a great example is my wife. So she's launched her business, Aging Better Network, and she's talks about the aspects of aging. She was also a caregiver And also, in like many families, we have lost family members, lost loved ones. And so she wrote a LinkedIn newsletter and it was titled the Care Grievers Kit. And so in this LinkedIn newsletter, she shares get physical things that you can put together in a kit. So when you have those waves of grief, when you miss that person in your life, you can go to this kit and pull things out. It might be some item that helps you remember a moment with them. Maybe they gave you a birthday card. Or for my mother, we enjoyed watching the movie The Sting when I was young. And so recently I was missing being around my mother. And so I turned on the movie, right? And it was very comforting. She brings the newsletter to me. I'm like, this is great. And if you just added a couple of things and we listed those out and she wrote those, and within 2 weeks, that newsletter was a book on Amazon.
And that kind of content is so helpful because there's stuff out there, but I think especially if you have a niche that's very unusual or very specific, that is just can be explosive as far as growth goes.
Absolutely. And one of the authors that I often point to is a lady named Barbara Carnes. So I'm in Oregon. She lives just over the border in Vancouver, Washington. And Barbara is a registered nurse. And back in the 80s, late 70s and 80s, she was working with end of life, with hospice. And she discovered that a lot of the families that were going through this were going through the same series of problems and questions. And so there was no information out there. So she wrote a book called Gone From My Sight. And we would call it a pamphlet. It's 15 pages. Sells for like $7.99 on Amazon. So she published that in 1985. And it changed the hospice industry. And she's written a number of books. Most of them are under 30 pages. She's written some longer books as well. But this is what she started with. That 15-page book that she released in 1985, since then has sold over 35 million copies. And it's 15 pages. So it's 80,000 copies a month of that booklet, whatever you want to call it, are going out. It solves one problem. It addresses it. It tells people what they need to know. And when people are going through an end of life situation with a family member, they don't want a 200-page book
No,
with
they don't have time for that.
everything and stories,
Yeah.
right? It's just give me what I need right now. And so she put that together and she did that. And I encourage people, don't try to solve everything. Don't try to put all of your knowledge into that one book. In fact, think of your book as a series of books. Later on, you can compile them into a longer book if that's going to be helpful, and it may be. But the important thing is that you take your ideal audience, you take a common problem they have, present it, and offer a solution. And that way you can have an impact. Because think of all the business books. You're probably like me. I have a shelf full of business books that I haven't read or haven't read completely. And the other thing is, I haven't implemented anything out of most of those books. But give people one problem. So your expertise in the Google Business Profile, formerly Google My Business, Google Places, you can put together a 300-page book on how to manage this. But maybe it's just a 20-page book that tells people how to claim just to get started, right? Then the next one is how to do posts, how to respond. Then another book about how to get and manage your reviews. Now, later on, you can compile them all, but each one of those steps along the way gives them a specific item that they can implement right away. And that's what's important. That's how you change lives.
And I love the idea of you not only putting out this really consumable content that answers questions, but also using that to attract people to what you do. If you're a coach, you're using it to get clients. If you're an agency like us, we would be using that same book to get clients as well. So tell us a little bit about that aspect of it and how it works.
Absolutely. So one of the benefits is, of course, we're doing self-publishing, right? So you have control. In the old days, if you were going to use traditional publishing, you would have to find an agent because publishers only speak to agents. They don't speak to the authors. It'll take you about a year to find an agent. That agent will probably take a year to find a publisher who is interested in your book. Then you're looking at about a 2-year process to write. So 4 years from the time that you go, I have an idea that will help people, till the time that it actually gets in their hands. So you can get your ideas to market quickly. And I'll give an example later about how I'm doing this currently with a joint book. But the problem with selling the books on Amazon is that they don't tell you who bought your book or share that person's email with you. So you've got the book there getting helped. So the key in the self-published book, especially, is putting hyperlinks into the book that go directly to gated content. So content that is specific to your book, but requires them to share their email. So what I recommend is you go, here are these concepts. We've got this problem. Here's the solution. But let's help you apply this directly in your life or to your business, whatever type of coach you are. So I have exclusive free content for the people who buy this book. Click on the link, takes them to your website, captures their email, and then you take them through. My recommendation is to do 3 videos. We want to connect your face and your voice with the solution to their problem. And again, there's brain science that goes behind this, right? So we want them to see your face, hear your voice, connect that up with the solution to the problem. So in the first video, you tell them what it is they're going to do and why they want to do this. In the second one, you give them you lay out what it is they need to do. So it might be take an inventory or fill a worksheet out or some other item that they need to do. And the third one, you provide an interpretation of that. And here's what you do. Now, of course, this is solving one problem and it's providing one solution. And coaches and consultants obviously have many more items that they can solve, that they can address. So in the videos, you're always reminding them, now, I'm just solving this one problem for you. There are many more things. There are a lot of things that combine into this. And if you're interested in learning more, here's how you can do business with me. And so you can enroll them into different email sequences, into courses, whether they're free, mid-value, high value, whatever it is you have to offer. But now you've captured their email. And so you're using Amazon as part of your lead magnet, the top part of your funnel.
That's awesome. And it's ingenious. Like, I love the idea of, I never really feel connected with an author unless I'm also listening to the audiobook. If I've purchased the book, I read it, and then I listen to the audiobook. That's the only way that I really feel like connected to them. But I love the idea of doing the audio and video, because that is going to really like just bring it full circle. I love that.
Exactly.
That's amazing. And you recommend 20 to 40 pages, nothing huge, pull existing content. I will say Scott and I had our pre-call a couple weeks ago, and he inspired me during that pre-call. He's like, you have all this content lying around. You have all these episodes already recorded. You have everything that you probably need to write a book. So just go look and see what you have. And I ended up pulling, I think, probably 30 either pieces of webinar or podcast episodes or some sort of audio content that I already have. I ripped the transcripts using Descript. They're already written, popped them in Google Drive in documents, and I have at least 10 books already ready. That took me probably maybe 4 hours, I'm thinking. just to go
Isn't
through
that great,
and
right?
I'm like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god, I have all this content and I didn't even think about it." And I obviously want to say thank you for bringing the ease into my mind because I didn't even think it would be that easy. But not only that, but just giving us this method that you've created to really make it easy step by step. I'm following also along with your 12-week email series. And
Mhm.
that is really helping me to stay focused. And every week, every Friday now, because I signed up on the day that we had our pre call, every Friday I get the email and I'm following along. And I think it's amazing.
Thank you, and I am grateful that you're taking that knowledge that's been inside your head or stuck on podcasts, you're extracting that out of your brain and sharing that with the world because they need this information. They need what Amanda Tento has to offer. And people learn different ways. And so providing it to them in a different way is the right thing to do.
And I know I have some friends that like don't listen to podcasts at all. So they would benefit from some of the content on the podcast, but they're just not podcast people. So I feel like shifting this into a different medium is definitely going to be helpful as well.
So the course that you're going through is a free course that I offer on the website. And I call it the PIP method: publish, instruct, and promote. And so it's take that information you have, publish it, instruct, that's creating that exclusive course where you capture their email, and then promote and do that as a webinar. And of course, my recommendation is go live on Amazon with me. So I have a paid mastermind. And so people who go through that with me, we do a webinar on Amazon, which is permanently housed on the Amazon servers. So you can always point people, oh, you can go learn more about what I have to offer and give them that link. And again, it's a shoppable video. Now, shoppable video means as they're watching the video, your book is in the carousel. It's right below that video. To buy the book, all they have to do is click on it. It opens a new tab, and then they can hit add to cart. And this is opposed to using a non-shoppable video. Let's say you put that exact same content out on YouTube. You say, go watch my video. They watch it. And then they go, now go to the show notes and scroll down and find the link and click that. And then go to this other platform where you can access the book. But you can direct people directly to there. So when I do these Amazon Live videos, not only is it live to the audience on Amazon, and is it permanent available, you can always point people to it. I provide a full MP4 copy of that interview, of that webinar, so that the author can then post the full thing. They can edit it up, put it on their book page, their author page, their website, social media, anything that they want to do to promote it. So it's really fun. And I love doing these.
And it's very evergreen. Once you have written your book, once you have started that promotion, once you've done your webinar with Scott, then, you have all of this stuff already done and said, and all you have to do is just refer people. I love that. I think making things as simple as possible for us as business owners, and a lot of our listeners are moms. So combining all of the stuff we have going on, this makes it so much easier. So I love that.
Absolutely. All my marketer friends say, remove the friction, right?
Yes.
Reduce the number of clicks.
Exactly. That's exactly right. So how can people get into your paid mastermind? How can they sign up for the 12-week email series course?
Absolutely. Thank you. The best thing to do is to go to my website, dscottsmith.com, and there you can sign up for the free course. And also you can request access into the paid mastermind course. Of course, I recommend that people start with the free course and get started and see if it's something that's really interesting to them. I'm a huge fan of masterminds. I am a part of a paid mastermind for over 3.5 years now. Iron sharpens iron. And I always tell people, look, I pay for this mastermind and I could lease a very nice car for what I pay for that. But masterminds are hugely important. If you want to be successful in your business, don't do it alone. Get into a mastermind, have people hold you accountable. And in one of the episodes I have on my podcast, which is Publish Your Book, we talk about goals. And Dr. Gail Matthews from the Dominican University out of California gives 5 steps that you need to do to be successful. And have goals is the first one. The second one is write down your goals. The third is develop a plan to meet your goals. Fourth is tell somebody about your goals. It helps you formulate it when you have to communicate it. But the fifth is have someone hold you accountable. And that's what happens in a mastermind.
I am a huge fan of masterminds as well. And I had ambitions, and someday I may still run a mastermind. I have run them before, but I haven't done it in a year or so. But I absolutely love them, and I love participating as well. So I think that this is an invaluable resource for you if you are out there, you're listening, and you're ready to either write your book. Maybe you've even already written a book. I'm sure there is a lot of content in that mastermind that can help to move that book along a little bit further.
I want to throw one more reason out there for writing your book, and it's about adding to your body of work, to your legacy. And I think back with my parents, grandparents, great grandparents, if they had written books, I would treasure those. And I know you have a growing family. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I just think, imagine when you publish your book, that your children are going to go, oh, this is mom's book. And someday, this is great grandma Amanda's book, right? So create that legacy today. Take that information that you have and publish it. It's your point of view. It's the synthesis of what you have pulled together, you've created. It is different than anything else in the universe. Nobody else does what Amanda does. So when you publish it, you capture it and you add to your body of work. You add to your legacy.
I love that. That if that isn't reason enough for anybody that's listening to write your book, then I don't know what is. Thank you so much for being here. We truly appreciate you. We appreciate your expertise. And I really hope that anyone listening is going to be signing up for your email course, because you have to. I've already done it. So I can tell you that it's really good.
Fabulous. Thank you, Amanda. Such a joy and an honor to hang out with you here and share with your audience.
Yes. Thank you for being here.
Let's face it, piecing together a marketing plan with the things you hear, watch, or read online, while tempting, is never a good idea. The truth is, people don't search on social media for your services, and even if they do, they will still be going to Google to check your rating. By not having a cohesive, proven marketing system, you are leaking clients and customers through giant holes in your customer acquisition bucket. Let's talk about what else isn't working. Posting tirelessly on social media, tracking followers as a business metric for success, paying for ineffective marketing, buying glossy ads in Coupon magazine, spending time replying to comments, paying others to manage your social media with no actual sales coming in. So what is going to work? Having a proven marketing system in place will plug every hole in your bucket and allows you to begin to fill up with new customers and to also retain and nurture your current ones. Go to tdm-marketing/6-marketing-musts and download our free guide to 6 marketing musts guaranteed to get you more customers.